Okay, so next release, Unity 3.5. This year we're focusing on enabling you to push all platforms to the limits. Unity is the most optimized game engine for mobile devices, and we're working hard to also make this true for all other platforms. Blah, blah, blah. The opening paragraph just kind of their goal. Okay, the big thing here is Unity 3.5 is a late summer or fall 2011 release. And of course, please note that all the features in this roadmap are not commitments. They may or may not end up in a final release. If a feature isn't ready in time, it will not be included in the release. Yeah. Well, the thing is, if you already have like Unity 3, it's not going to cost you anything for all these upgrades. They only charge for the major releases, so Unity 4 is when the next time they'll have to pay. And well, they said they don't have any plans on putting it out anytime soon. I personally get a little leery because they're moving up the version numbers so fast. We'll see. I'm hoping it's not next year. I don't want to see next fall, Unity 4's out. It's like, oh man, I just got Unity 3. Then again, it also depends what's included in Unity 4. But let's go on and just start going through what's going to be in Unity 3.5 before we even start trying to guess what's going to be in 4. We will be moving most of the rendering workload and driver overhead away from the main Unity thread and onto another CPU core. Okay, so this is a multi-threaded rendering. This is an ongoing project that will currently be working on the PC, but we have plans to make it available on all multi-core platforms from desktop to mobile. So that's good because a lot of the mobile devices now are all coming out with dual cores. Plus, we're going for a wide multi-core utilization, using as many CPUs as there are for tasks like culling and particle systems. That's awesome. How much of this is ready for 3.5 and on which platform is still open to question, but we can say that the performance gains look very promising. That's going to be awesome. So just being able to finally take advantage of all the multi-cores in a modern day system. So whoops, I accidentally scrolled there. I scrolled quite a bit. The next one actually I really like, pathfinding. So my tutorial, if I want to do a really quick, brief pathfinding thing, it's probably because I'm just going to wait for this here to come out, because pathfinding, there's so many ways to do it, and there's even packages on the asset store that you can go out and get. If Unity's going to have it built right in, it's not something I want to spend months covering. At least creating our own. Man, I'm just having a horrible time with this mouse today. But anyway, pathfinding. Unity will automatically generate navigation messages from your level geometry. That's just awesome right there. Beautiful natural-looking crowd simulation using RVO and PLE algorithms wrapped in a simple API. Now, I don't really know what the RVO and the PLE algorithms are. I'm sure a quick Google search will spit those out for you. Agents can find paths to target locations with built-in crowd simulations. So I'm wondering if there's talking about built-in crowd simulations. If the mobs are let's say you've got just 10 characters walking around on the screen randomly, if they'll avoid each other. If that's what they mean by crowd simulations, or could be moved directly on the nav mesh in the similar way to the character controller. It sounds good. I'm not really 100% sure exactly how it's going to perform, as it still seems to be fairly open to interpretation. It sounds really good. If the mobs, if you can just build your terrain, it automatically builds your nav mesh right here, and then everything on it just kind of knows where everything else is and it avoids it. That's really good. I don't really see a point in building your own system unless you do. Well, no, there'll still be instances where you might want to, maybe some sort of racetrack, but then you might be able to adapt this to that. But we'll see. New particle system. We rewrote our particle system from scratch. The new particle system is completely curve and gradient driven and is composed of modular blocks to boost functionality. Also, it utilizes multi-core CPUs on all platforms. Now, it says it uses multi-core CPUs on all platforms up here, but up here it mentions that they're not sure if it's going to be on all, if it's going to be ready. But either way, it'll be interesting to see exactly what they do for the new particle systems. They don't really give a whole lot of information here. It's going to be completely curve and gradient driven, but they don't, without a kind of an example, I really just can't envision what it's going to be. Does anyone else have any information on it besides what's written here? I'm not really sure what you mean by look at UDK. Or did they just copy it or something? Or while you're getting out, I'm going to move on to the next one. UI framework. We're rewriting the in-game GUI system from the ground. We've made it simple and intuitive to create modern game interfaces with tons of animations and other effects. Everything is assembled in a visual GUI editor. Oh, that's really cool. I didn't realize it was going to be a visual GUI. Oh, wow. Just think of all those visual GUI editors on the asset store. But anyway, a lot of effort is going into optimizing the GUI system for minimizing runtime overhead through automated texture atlasing and aggressive coverage-based batching. So that's pretty much what we're doing right now. So it's going to automatically do our texture atlas and our aggressive cover-based batching. Okay, Nodagroup, Noddag, Rube, whatever your name is, I'm just going to call you Nod. Came up with a link for the particle features. Let's take a look at this. I'll bring this onto the screen. I'm not sure if people can actually see it. So, you think this is what it's going to be? I see the curves. Let's keep it off to the side and take a look at it a little bit later. It'll be interesting to see because the old system is kind of, I guess, getting dated. Yeah, well, we'll see when it comes out. I'm kind of excited about this new UI framework. Not really sure when they're going to put it. I remember they talked about it when they were coming out with Unity 3, that it was one of the things they were really working on. And I was a little grumpy when they started coming out with like Unity, 3.1. I don't remember what was released there. I think 3.2 gave us the asset store. I think, or was it 3.3 that gave us? No, it was one that gave us the asset store. Then another one gave us better image effects and stuff like that. And I was just like, oh, when's this new UI stuff coming in? So 3.5, of course, that's not going to be to the fall. But I'll still be looking for it. So, light probes for character lighting. Now, we've already looked at this in the demo from, I forget the name of the game, but it's on the Unity blogs. So light probes, actually they have a link to their blog post. So it's the advanced shading and lighting for mobile. Let me see. They go on to talk about a lot of stuff here. And they do have a video. Here it is here. I can't play the video, but it's there. Make sure you go check it out. It's actually a really cool video. But let's take a look to see what it does. Light probes are an advanced technique for lighting dynamic objects and characters with high quality baked lighting. We capture incoming direct and bounced lighting within a scene at a number of points, also known as light probes. As a character moves through the scene, nearby probes are picked, interpolated, and as a result, is then passed to the shader to light the surface. So, if you've watched the video, it's actually really cool when they're moving the character through the scene view to actually watch how all these light probes are picked up. Yes, shadow gun. It's in the video as well. So it's actually something that looks like it's going to be really cool to play around with, and probably something that you'll use on a lot more than just mobile devices. But it's definitely something. I wonder if it's going to be an advanced only feature, They haven't really said about a lot of this stuff here. I haven't even really thought about it. What's going to be for the Pro version and what's going to be in the free version. It'll be interesting to see. I can see the light probes being in the advanced version, which means I'll have it available in Unity, but not on iOS. Okay. Yeah, I think UDK, wasn't it like C++ or something like that? It's been a while. Or maybe that was Torque. But it doesn't matter because we're talking about Unity. Ah, yes, the Unreal script. Okay, so RNM light maps. To add more flexibility to our light mapping solution, we're adding the option to make directional light maps, radiosity normal maps, and similar schemes. That will also enable bump and specular effects on surfaces lit by indirect light only. Now, I'm not really sure what an RNM light map is. I have heard it mentioned before. To be honest, I'm just not really sure what that's giving me. Anyone have any idea? Like, it sounds like a cool thing. This will enable bump and specular effects on surfaces lit by indirect light only. Here's a really cool feature. The level of detail support. Built-in level of detail support. Level of details are currently authored manually in your favorite modeling tool, but we're also experimenting with automatic LOD generation techniques. The way I would love to see it work is that you can just put your model in the game and it would automatically generate these LODs for you. But that's probably, you know, wishing too much. I really don't know how much work that would be, but it's definitely something I can't wait to see how they work with it. So they're going to have an intuitive editor tools for setting and inspecting LODs are included, as well as integration into the pipeline to automatically create LODs based on naming conventions. That's cool. We're also offering support for fading level and detail transitions using screen space dithering. So they get more information at this blog post, and they have a link. Okay, that's back to the Ninja Camp LOD demo. I remember that. So it looked pretty good then. I'll probably rewatch that just to get a better idea of what's going on. But anyway, LOD is something I think is really good to have included. Is it included in any other game engine that you can think of? It might just be because I'm just so used to people talking about having to write their own and include it. Now, the next option is something I think a lot of people are really excited about, but since I pretty much work alone, it's not that big of a deal to me. Integrated pre-force and subversion version control. We're working on a fully integrated version control support for both pre-force and subversion. There's a complete UI including support for file locking. To be honest, I pretty much just use my time machine as my backup, and sure, it only goes off every hour, but I haven't had a problem with it yet. Now, I can see if you're working on a team, especially a large team, you're definitely going to be wanting to run something like this. And currently, I think the easiest integrated solution, I believe, is their asset server, but it also costs, I think, like $500 or something. Now, I have read posts about people getting, like Git working, a few different versions of Subversion, but we'll see what happens when it comes out. So the next one's actually another really big thing for large groups, or even just small groups. Unity will now write all data in text-based file format scenes, prefabs, materials, and other binary files in your project folder. The format is based on the YAML and is optimized for being easy to merge. Multiple team members can work on a scene at the same time and merge the resulting changes afterwards. So that's going to be pretty cool for groups. So prefabs. The prefab system has been rewritten. Allows you to add and remove components without breaking prefab connections. Materials can be instantiated with a prefab instance. This paves the way for nested prefabs. Now, I don't know if anyone's ever had that problem with nested prefabs before, where they have a prefab under a prefab, and then if they go ahead and they make a change to that lower prefab, if you have it in, say, like 5 different scenes, you had to go around in each scene and update it. It got really annoying, but it sounds like they finally fixed it. Now, what were they talking about here? The ability to remove components without breaking a prefab connection. I'm not quite understanding, because to me, if you start removing components, it's not really the prefab anymore, right? It's kind of something different than the prefab. Is a guy with 3 arms the same as a guy with 1 arm? Materials are instantiated with the prefab instance. I just assumed they always were. Apparently they're not right now. But anyway, so the prefabs are all done, are going to be new anyway. Profile and allocator improvements. A new allocator framework helps us reduce memory usage and fragmentation and improve performance. Now there's a much better memory overview in Unity's Profiler. That's obviously a Pro version, since the Profiler is only for Pro. But yeah, I don't really use it a whole lot, not until I actually start getting close to the final build. But having better tools is always a good thing. So here's a good one. Game Center and social APIs. We are working on a pluggable social API with backends for Facebook and Apple Game Center. Companies like OpenFaint or publishers with a custom social platforms can easily create their own implementation. This makes it easy to port games between platforms. So being able to have the Facebook API built right into Unity and ready just to plug into your game, so you don't have to worry about let's say right now, if you're doing creating an iOS game and you've got to have your iOS plugin that you're going to be using that's written Objective-C, then all of a sudden you port it over to Android, and well, Objective-C is going to be running on Android, so you have to completely rewrite it. It's still going to be worked right into Unity. You don't have to worry about it. Now they just have the 2 right now. I wonder if you can actually use the Apple Game Center on an Android device. I've never heard of anyone try. I imagine they have some sort of way of checking. It would be funny to actually see that occurring, though. Over in the chat, will you be able to make Facebook game at that point, or Facebook posts? You can do it right now if you want. There was like a 30-minute demo. I think it was done by Hickey B. He did like a game that completely integrated into Facebook in about 30 minutes. And there's actually quite a few posts already on it. There's not a whole lot getting it hooked up to Facebook. And as far as making Facebook posts on people's walls, I know Facebook has changed that not too recently, probably around the beginning of the year. But it's an open API, so I don't see why you wouldn't be able to. Yeah. And I still think putting your game out on Facebook is still a really good thing. Do you happen to have a link to it? Just so people watching along don't have to look for it? I haven't actually seen the video either. I heard about it. I think it's Higgy B, not Hickey B. I could be wrong. It was one of those things I quickly read. But I'm going to move on to the next one while that's being looked up. So audio. We are working on low latency audio buffer access. This will enable you to write your own filters, effects, or make the audio data precisely affect your application, or let the application dynamically mix and procedurally generate audio samples. Microphone support will also be introduced across all platforms. Microphone input can be accessed transparently as an audio clip. Now, I've never actually played with microphones before, so I don't really have any idea how it works right now and how this is going to change it. Repeat what? When you type it up, it should be viewable in the chat. Oh, it is done by someone named Hickey? Okay. When I read it, I thought it just naturally used to seeing Higgy Bee. I'll move on to the next one. Webcam support. We're adding support for streaming video for cameras or other input devices into a texture that allows you to develop augmented reality games, or for upcoming pictures or integration with social networks or other online services. This will be implemented. This was implemented in our last Ninja Camp. Let me just take a look here. I don't believe I've seen this one. Okay, they're talking about it, but there wasn't a video for it. So anyway, that could actually be kind of cool, because you could, as they're playing the game, you could actually have, as certain things happen, maybe some like zombie jumps out or something, and you'd have the camera going off at the same time, so you could like get a picture of their reaction, have it upload to, some website. Obviously, you'd have to, put some sort of warning up, like, hey, we're going to be taking pictures throughout gameplay. Is this okay type thing? Or even just take the picture, save it to their system, and allow them to choose which ones they want to upload. But yeah, if you had some sort of horror or some sort of game where there's a lot of like shock in it, it could be really cool to just snap people's pictures at random. See, so anyway, webcam support could be really cool. It's definitely something I'm going to want to play around with, and the audio as well. So Umbrella SPVS rewrite. So Umbra's SPVS occlusion culling system has been rewritten from scratch. The algorithm now generates conservative PVS results, and making PVS is around 10 times faster. I thought it was pretty quick before, but I'd never used like the max settings. So the fact that it's 10 times faster is going to be pretty awesome. Now I'm not really sure, is there a difference between an SPVS and a PVS? I've never really dug that deep into it. But anyway, the fact that it's going to be 10 times faster is good enough for me. And of course, it loads more. Let's see, anything else? Some of the stuff they're currently working on, the Flash export support. They're not saying when it's going to be ready. Cache server. Everyone loves Unity's completely automatic asset pipeline and the ability to quickly modify any assets, new project, folder without jumping through hoops. But when working on large teams, everyone, being able to upload, 1 gigabyte of assets in 9 seconds to someone on your team is really good. Again, since I pretty much work alone, it's not something I'll probably be taking a whole lot of advantage of. They're coming out with the HDR and gamma correction rendering. I'm not sure if you guys have seen that. Built-in HDR, proper linear space lighting, making the pipeline, the shaders and the renderers target. Whoops, I keep touching my mouse and scrolling. Render targets work together to produce the output the artist anticipated. It's a trick area to get right across all platforms, which is why we want to solve it for you. Now, texture streaming. We're working on a texture streaming solution. Unity will load the texture at the necessary resolution just before it needs it. You have a texture memory budget with Unity. So basically, it'll load the textures up that you need just before you need them. It says something about automatically sizing them. But anyway, it's going to be a really great way to have much richer, like larger textures. And yes, even down on the iOS devices. And I assume Android as well. Anytime they mention iOS, I just assume, unless it's an iOS specific feature, they mean all mobile devices. So being able to stream textures from the background at 60 frames a second is pretty good. So audio improvements, Fmod designer support, import Fmod designer banks. I've never really played around with Fmods. I'm not really sure the impact of this. So you can import fmod designer banks and event files and access them as standard audio clips. So it might be worth checking out fmod now. I believe it's free. At least there's fmod, well, something to make designer bank and event files. Audio DSP graph. See, too bad RJ wasn't here. He's the audio guy, so you probably understand this a little bit better. So anyway, audio DSP graph. You get full access to the mixer engine to create custom routing and advanced signal chains. So they're going to have a visual node editor for it. Dynamic mixing. And that's pretty much it. The next article underneath it was the Asset Store Action News. But anyway, that's it for the Unity roadmap for 2011. What does everyone think about it? Excited to get to 3.4? Any guesses on what day it'll be released? Yeah, 3.5 is definitely more exciting, but we're probably I figure probably what, October we'll get it. Yeah, September, October. So 3.4. So what was the big thing in 3.4? A lot of optimizations. Yeah, there's actually all the really exciting stuff I think is in 3.5. I am kind of interested to find out about this downloadable content with caching, since it's something I am probably going to want to work into my game once we start covering asset bundles. Now, asset bundles are an advanced feature, so I'm going to be saving them. Oh, sorry, pro-only feature, so it is something I'm going to be saving to the end. So it's going to be kind of like a little add-on tutorial at the end of it. But yeah, it'd be really cool to see how this works. Again, pretty much anything that affects iOS devices, I kind of like. So some people just don't care about working on mobile devices, so that it's not going to be of any interest to them. Much like since I don't work in groups, Subversion isn't all that exciting to me. Oh yeah, Train on mobile. That's probably the thing I like the most. Yes, I missed that. So mobile Train, then checking out downloadable content with caching. There's a lot of good things there, but I don't know if I had to pick three. I guess Train. If the caching content does last from session to session, and the ability to change textures, I guess. I'm really not sure how that's going to work, so I'm not going to pick that. Shadows, generally not something I use, because like I said, I use the mobile devices so much. I've gotten used to not using real-time shadows. Gee, I really don't know. The least favorite is probably the script execution order for me. I guess just graphic optimizations in general. And I guess we'll see what image effects and water they come out with. I thought they mentioned that it was going to be more iOS shaders or something like that. Maybe that was in 3.5. Yeah. Like, I don't mind the way gizmos are handled now, so it's not a huge improvement to me. I don't know. The third one, I guess, I don't know, graphic optimizations just in general. Here it is, yeah. So, more mobile optimized shaders. So that's going to be my third. Yes, I know the Train was listed under that, but I'm breaking that out on its own because it's such a huge thing, at least for me. But anyway, that's it for our quick roadmap overview.